My name is John Hamilton, and I've been a resident of Inwood since October of 2009. I've done production work and writing work for Off-Broadway in San Francisco and here in New York. I also have interest in many other art forms, including a museum called the Record Museum, which I curate. It's a mobile, portable gallery, and you would view each artifact as you would shopping for a record, a used record, and it's something we call Musée dans une caisse, so it's museum in a box. And this will be featured actually this coming June as part of the Uptown Art Stroll through Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance at the Inwood Gourmet on Cooper, and that's all of June. And otherwise, my partner, Tara, she's lived in Inwood since, I believe, 2007. She's a lifelong Manhattanite, and we met at a wedding, and I came east from San Francisco and have happily called Inwood my home since then. Certainly, well, just being in this neighborhood, which is, there are many different neighborhoods in Manhattan and New York, and a lot of them have changed over the years. And Inwood's no different, but Inwood being a very long history of being an immigrant neighborhood, it's got a certain feel to it, a certain buzz, and so it feels like an enclave. And so I think just the energy from the neighborhood itself, I feed on, and I feed on the fact that I'm not only Inwood, I am Isham Street. And so basically, I live in an apartment that is surrounded by a school, a church, a rectory, and 2 parks. So it's a totally different vibe sometimes too. So there's nature, there's the occasional quiet moment too. So I get a little bit of both to influence any artwork I might be working on, whether it be graphic design or writing up a gallery guide for the Record Museum. I also do a lot of playwriting and screenwriting, and so sometimes it's fun to borrow from certain people you meet along the way, or picking up on certain accents or voices, and that's of course inspired by plenty of folks that I'll see in an average day in Inwood. What I love specifically about Inwood is, again, my location on Isham Street. There is this closeness to nature because of the parks that I don't think you get in a lot of other spots in the city or even in Inwood. And so as I got older, I got more into birds and plants. So I got to see this out my window every day, and changing the seasons. It's very beautiful on Isham, if anyone who's walked up and down to the Green Market or the church. And so there is that aspect, and there is also just there's certain cuisines that may not have been, in my purview, living in San Francisco or growing up in Florida, and so a lot of the island food has been very enjoyable, I have to say. And then a lot of the people I meet up here are folks who are artists, and they work downtown, but they live up here. So it's an interesting cross section of those types of people. And I also have enjoyed meeting my partner's friends who are also lifelong Manhattanites, and so they have certain perspectives of how things have changed and what they like, and I've kind of followed in their shadows and somewhat into going to certain places or learning to enjoy certain areas of Manhattan that I might not have always known about until moving here. Inwood, as with many parts of the city, there is a history of music and musicians and artists in that realm, and what I've kind of enjoyed is that in an average day, I can hear reggaeton being enjoyed thoroughly at maximum volumes, but then I can hear someone practicing their vocal warm-up or their instruments from the alley below, and also just being inspired by those that maybe came before me. My good friend Natalie Weiss, who owned the bistro on Broadway, Lin-Manuel used to come in there, and he would write the early parts of In the Heights there, and the building that I live in is in fact where Jim Carroll, the poet and punk rocker, grew up and spent the last year of his life as well. So it's fun to be reminded or to find these little nuggets and to know that there is a history of creativity and participation in the neighborhood, and I hope that continues.